Hello, so this is a quick video on how not to make assumptions in a relationship. When you make an assumption, you tell yourself that something is true without actually having any evidence for it. It's all too easy to lead your life, never questioning that you are assuming things to be facts. Examples of assumptions at work are things like you don't get the promotion at work, so you assume you aren't good at your job. You assume most people are bad at heart, so you don't trust anyone you meet. Your partner isn't very talkative of late, so you assume they're angry with you. So, or another example is your mother has never understood your choices, so you assume she does not love you. Sound familiar? Well, so why do we make assumptions? In some ways, the brain is designed to make assumptions. It searches for patterns in what cognitive scientists call mental models. To make it more efficient. For example, you can walk to the station and take the train to the office without paying attention, but assuming it will be the same walk and platform as ever, leaving your mind free to effectively organize tomorrow's dinner or something like that. But many assumptions are actually learned behavior. They come from our culture and our families and from what we were taught to think as children. We tend to take our parents' assumptions, such as assuming that we do or do not deserve certain things, like money, love, a good life. Or we should or shouldn't do things, like get married, be atheist, or wear clothing, for example. Even if we grow up to learn to question the ways our parents think, we might still unwittingly be making assumptions like them because we approach relationships with others using patterns we were taught as children. So, for example, you might assume a good relationship means two people might always agree with each other, but does. But does it? No. And how would this color and control your choices of partner if you were to make assumptions? Why assumptions can really bring your moods down. Assumptions damage our capacity to relate to others. If you are always assuming you know how others think and feel, you stop listening and communicating, and leave them feeling trapped or misunderstood, and relationships difficult. Whether at work or at home, this can lead to low self-esteem and depression. Assumptions also block possibilities. They impede your ability to think creatively and get ahead. If you assume the only way to do a presentation is PowerPoint, and the day comes where there is a technological meltdown at the office, and you back out, it's the employee who makes no assumptions and thinks to act out scenarios with PowerPoints described with clients and has them all laughing. But most important, when it comes to moods, assumptions also create spirals of negative thinking. Assumptions tend to involve such forms of negative thought as doubts and black and white thinking. And given that cognitive behavioral therapists teach our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions. If your head is full of negative assumptions, it's highly more likely that you are triggering yourself into repeating cycles of feeling awful. So, how do we stop making assumptions? I have an image that pops up here, and I typed in this, that says assume, makes an ass out of you and me. So, stop making assumptions. First things first, learn how to recognize you are making them. Spend a week really watching when you're assuming things, even writing them down. Look at all of your assumptions, all shapes and sizes. 2, ask good questions of your assumptions. To break down assumptions, you need to ask forward-moving questions. So what facts do I have to prove this is true? What facts do I have to prove this thought isn't true? What is a more realistic, in the middle way of seeing things? Did I ask this person what they were feeling? 3, agree to not have control over everything. A lot of assumptions are about wanting to control life out of a false ideas. This will make you safe. For example, because you can't control what others think, and this might feel scary, you assume that you know what they are thinking. You assume that the neighbors find you lazy and assume that your teenage daughter hates you. But what if instead you embrace uncertainty? It's in fact a great method to drop a ton of assumptions all at once. 4, look for places you feel stuck. If you aren't sure where you are making assumptions, then look at the places you feel stuck. Inevitably, there will be an assumption hiding out and holding up things down. And finally, be mindful. Assumptions can be tricky because they are thoughts we are so used to making. They can go without us even noticing. Mindfulness, the act of continuously drawing your attention to your present and how you are thinking and feeling right now, can over time train you to catch more of your thoughts, and thus your assumptions. The more you know what you are assuming, the more power you have to change what you are assuming into perspectives that open rather than close possibilities for you and your life. So that's it. Thank you for listening.